Welcome everybody and happy anniversary. As you can see, JP has gotten its update for looking a little sparkly. Look at the nice little roses and everything. As a matter of fact, can I actually go back? Can I go back for a second? Can we go out to the main screen? Because you know what? We're gonna start this video right. We gotta celebrate when something cool happens. This artwork, I wish they did this more often, not only because this is beautiful, this is gorgeous, but really, I hate the flashbang that happens on the votive home screen when it's just bright white light and it's nighttime and you're like, oh god, my retinas. Okay. I love this. I love when they do this. I actually just hate the pure white screen for a lot of reasons, which I don't think we have time in this video. So today we're talking about Master Ability 3, which are now available for JP players and include characters such as Bridal Aliia, Helena, Starlight Helena, and Ketone. And we're going to talk about each of these characters in turn, and then we're going to give a preview of essentially, well, are Master Quest 3 abilities worth it? So let's start off going through each of the characters. I think maybe not age, but let's start with Helena first. Now, I guess I should also mention really quickly that to do this, you do need to have unlocked Master Quest 2, and you do need to have the character at least 99. But other than that, it's pretty easy to be able to do. So let's take a look at, first off, Helena. Helena has been around for a good long time, and other than, just a generally solid unit for new players who are starting the game, I mean, mostly this character is considered to be pretty obsolete now. So Master Quest 3, do they actually get there in terms of bringing a character up to speed? Alright, well, I did want to save that for later. So the upgrade for Helena: ability activation time down by 10%, range attack resistance by 25%, when your HP is over 70%, reduce physical damage taken by 30%, all of that's pretty nice. And we do get an ability strengthened as well, which is increase the hit rate of allies centered around self for 4 turns now, reduce ability activation time for the user for 4 turns, increase magic attack power and resistance penetration rate of area attacks, grant the effect of reducing physical damage taken, and grants the effect of absorbing HP when damage is inflicted. So there is a bunch of stuff that you're getting here. You're absorbing 50% of the damage, reducing physical damage by 25%, AoE resistance penetration is up by 30, magic attack is up by 30. We're looking at decreasing activation time by 350 and accuracy up by 30, all from one ability. That seems like a modern ability, and you are right, dear viewer. It is a modern ability. That is what a lot of characters would have nowadays. So Master Quest 3 has done a bunch of stuff for Helena and made her essentially more solid, just a better all-around character. But is this going to make Helena meta? No, almost certainly not. If anything, this is just really giving her a very, very nice improvement that puts her more in line and better to use for quests. I don't think it's changing the formula too terribly much, given that there are still way better characters out there. So new character, still better than Helena, but a nice free upgrade is kind of the headline for Helena. Next up, Ketone, who is a character who I have gotten the name wrong plenty of times, and nobody will let me live it down. So what does she get? Well, HP limit is increased by 15%. Cool. Evasion rate up by 5. I mean, she's already a problem with her evasion rate currently on JP, so that doesn't matter. Own range attack evasion by 10. So she actually gets a little bit of range attack resistance or evasion. So she has extra evasion like a newer character. Healing power is up by 20 when her HP is below 20%, which, sure, I mean, she's already kind of doing the evadey game, but neat, can heal herself better, and own single target resistance penetration rate up by 50. Now, Kitane was already being used before this video because Riku is incredibly prominent. The two characters now share a ton of overlap and are being used in unison with each other. So Kitane was already being used in potentially meta-based teams with Riku. This doesn't change the formula that much, but it does improve Kitane's performance by a lot. Essentially, if we're just going to focus on anything, the evasion and the single target resistance up by 50, the single target resistance penetration rate up by 50 is huge and is massive. And honestly, Kitane long-term fans being rewarded. This character has not seen a new version of herself in the story at all, but keeps hanging in there with good upgrades, and this is one of those times. So this character completely, I think, is viable in today's meta already, and actually now looking even better for a lot of reasons. So Kitane gets a thumbs up for Master Quest 3. I think she totally competes. And speaking of which, let's jump over to another character. This is a global, very important character, an evade darling. What does she get? Well, her own evasion rate goes up by 10, magic attack evasion rate up by 15, which is actually pretty relevant as one of the more accurate characters is Shrek. Evading magic attacks from Shrek. Absolutely, we love that with this character. Single target attack resistance penetration rate up by 15, not as much as Kitane, but still, I mean, could be getting pretty scary. When HP falls below 50%, after receiving damage, nullifies a sure hit against self for 3 turns, 1 time. So basically her HP falls below 50, she gets Riku's buff of being able to evade sure hit. This goes a long way to, once again, improving Helena. And just like Kitane, given that evasion has high prominence on JP, without a major accuracy boost to improve a lot of other characters, I think evade is back on the menu, and a pure evasion team looks better every single update. And so, given that Riku is very prominent, I'm giving this one a fairly high pass. I think Kitane is better. She has better synergy with Riku between elemental synergy as well as job type synergy and damage type synergy. Also, there's no denying that Kitane's damage, it got a huge boost with essentially a undispellable 50% penetration rate for single target attacks. Helena, DPS is not getting as much of a boost, but is a different damage type. So, because she doesn't synergize as well with Riku, I'm not as positive, but Helena got a lot of stuff, and I think that we probably on JP will see this character maybe as a Riku, Yuna, and Helena combination, which will be a little bit different. Either way, there just could be a ton of evasion on JP. Riku is looking better and better every single day. Potentially before Jaden gets an accuracy boost. Cough, cough. Alright, next up, changing speed for a moment. Let's talk about original recipe Aliia. What does she get? Well, frostbite activation rate is increased significantly, and that's an interesting wording on that because it is actually referred to as significant increase. That is a 200% chance to apply frostbite for self. So frostbite could really be back on the menu for this character. Without frostbite resistance, you might just be looking at frostbite every single time. Aliia still has pretty good range, so I think that this is not a bad start by any stretch of the imagination. Also, when HP is over 70%, area attack resistance penetration rate is increased by 20, and area attack resistance is increased by 20. So as long as your HP is high, he's in the back, he's going to be okay and dealing more damage now. Also, own physical damage also gets a 10% increase, so it's a good increase for her. Maybe just because Ice Jaden is out now and we're just going to have finally husband and wife in unison wrecking people by putting holes through them. Because, you know, Jaden usually is the one who gets holes put into him. Heyo! Alright, moving on. Frost Shot is also improved. Its damage has now been increased to large. That's the one that increases her defense penetration rate and reduces healing power. Not a bad ability. HP absorption is not always cancelable, so decreasing healing power is sometimes the correct way. I'm not going to give Aliia as big of a pass as the evade characters because evade is just kind of doing stupid stuff right now. So Aliia looks really cool, and I'm actually really happy because it does work really well timing wise for her to be paired with Jaden. It's just I would need to see some actual evidence that it's a really good combination before I would go too crazy. It's a free upgrade, so I think she'll just be great for a lot of different, you know, PvE content still. Probably just not super amazing in PvP because stupid stuff is going on there. All right, and our last character to look at is Bridal Aliia, who has been used very recently in a lot of Thunder-based teams. With what's going on with Earth, that's going to hurt our evaluation a little bit. Basically what she got, her own single target attack resistance penetration rate up by 30, which sure, that's more DPS for her, that's scary. When her HP falls below 50%, absorbs part of the damage dealt for 3 turns. So Aliia gets the vampire effect, which is really potentially scary. Her DPS is actually still pretty good. Thunder teams were happy to have this character in the mix. But again, with the prominence of Riku and Earth-based characters, it's a question of whether or not she can be accurate enough and whether her partners can be accurate enough to protect her. And I think that Thunder, sure, it can leverage different kinds of teams out there. This will make those Thunder teams generally stronger. But more people have Ramada now. More people have Luciel now, the Thunder healer. And as such, you know, competition for that Thunder space might be a little bit too competitive. Either way, if you're still using Bridal Aliia, she's going to be great in other content. She has a lot more survivability and still can dish out some really nice damage, even improved damage, as we've seen. So it's good, but it's not amazing. So summary time. We've now seen the first round of initial improvements, and it is very clear that we are not looking at a tactic style massive improvement for all of the characters that are here. Newer characters are getting nice buffs that generally do improve them and make them more comparable to newer units, but they still feel kind of behind, which you would expect because newer units are the things that they are trying to sell. However, I'm not going to deny that there isn't some really great stuff here for some older characters, especially evasion. It does seem like Master Ability 3s are targeting synergy with newer characters, with Jaden and Riku being some of the forefront most characters targeted with these upgrades. If I was to choose a winner, I'm going to have to choose Kitane. She was already a character that suddenly was starting to appear again because of Riku, and now it looks even better with a free update for one of those characters, which is just undeniably awesome. So Master Quest 3s, they do give, you know, essentially the same rewards for completing them as a Master Quest 2, except pink rewards instead of whatever, I think purple it was before. That's fine. We're getting some, essentially, these are really easily accessible upgrades, and they are doing what you would kind of expect. They do have some weapon ability, or some weapon type attack upgrades, which are nice. And they do have some really relevant buffs for characters. We'll just have to wait and see how JP's meta shifts. If Kitane does end up as a triple S character after all of this is said and done, well, shoot. I guess I'll have to do a video saying that Master Quest 3s are absolutely nuts and bonkers sometimes. But for now, they seem solid, they seem good, and if nothing else, it's a free extra video for everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you later.